Hello, welcome back to the Brazilian BA guest. Today, I have the honor to receive the author of the book Making Workshops Work, Creative Collaboration for Our Time. She is Dr. Penny Pullan. Hello, Penny.
Hello, it's lovely to be with you.
It's totally my pleasure. Thank you for coming. And I have a good question for you that's related to your book. The question is, how can we make our workshops work?
Well, how long do we have?
Approximately 5 minutes. Is that enough?
Oh, okay. So I can't read out the whole book, can I?
No, you can't.
Okay. How do we make our workshops work? There are several different things to think about. Workshops are absolutely key to business analysts and others who are working with groups to work out what's needed to come up with a new way to take things forward and to solve problems and to build on what works and come up with new ways and better ways of doing things. So workshops are right at the heart of business analysis. So it's really important that they work. We can't just muddle along. I mean, I do know some business analysts who hate workshops. There are even some that have spent many years going to people one by one to find out requirements and then going back round to make sure everybody agrees and then probably going round again and again and again. It's just not sustainable. So we need to be able to make workshops work, and we need to be able to make them work not just in a room together. After the last year or so, we need to be able to make them work in virtual environments. We need to make them work in hybrid environments. We need to do what we can to give everybody the best chance to do really good work together and to come up with the outputs that we need and that they need to get the right solution in the end. So there are a few ways that we can make our workshops work, but there are a few things that we need to think about first of all. So we need to understand about people. What makes people tick? Talk a lot about this in the book with some neuroscience and so on. But actually knowing how to make people at ease and to move away from stressful situations so that people can give their best work. And, you know, that's not just the people in the group. It's also, we need to give our best work as the facilitator as well. So, yeah, all of those things. How do we make people tick? How can we help people to do their best work? Really important. There are also lots of horror stories. I was talking with some people in Denmark just before our call, and they were saying what they liked was how I shared my horror stories. I don't know if you have any, Fabricio.
Horror stories about
horror
workshops.
Stories of workshops.
Oh
I remember
God.
the very first workshop I ever did.
Bad stories.
Yeah, horror stories.
Oh, always. But
always, and we learned so
yours.
much. Yeah.
Let me hear yours.
We're having such fun. We're all talking at the same time. It's just, yeah. So I can remember I once shouted at a very senior group of executives. I shouted to a lawyer in that group who just wouldn't stop talking. I shouted, "Shut up." And you were looking horrified. And I was horrified because it's just the wrong thing to do completely. And I have analyzed it for years and decades. And yeah, that's not what to do. But I talk about how that happened and why and what I do differently now so that it'll never happen again in the book. Do you have any horror stories you'd like to share, Fabricio?
Well, I remember a workshop where at some point let's say the sponsor of that initiative just called off the workshop because people were just taking their own agenda for the workshop and they were not thinking as a company. So he just called off the workshop and said, "Oh, we were supposed to work together in this objective, and if we're not aligned to that, there's no meaning of just keep going."
So it's called off. Was that the end or was that the beginning?
No, at the middle, we're just almost starting, a little bit started, and said, "Oh, let's stop this."
Wow. Yeah, sometimes that can be helpful though, if it means that people take things more seriously, and then you can get going again properly.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's quite tough at the time though, isn't it?
yeah.
So let's answer your question after all this chat. So I suppose the things that we need to do to make workshops work, for an individual workshop, we need to plan for that workshop. And we need to think about what do we need to do? What's the purpose of the workshop? Who are the people who need to be involved? And what's the process that we're going to go through with them? How are we going to take them from the beginning to the end of the workshop, achieving the purpose on the way? One of the things that might be helpful, actually, and just lean over and grab a little card I have something called the Magic 6, which is 6 questions to ask and to be clear. So let me just run through those. In a workshop, what are we here to do? Question number 1. That's a high-level purpose. The next thing is, today we will. What are the objectives that we will focus on today? What are the objectives we want to achieve? And I'd say 4 to 6 would be a good number for a workshop. Then what's the time plan? When do we start? When's the end? When are the breaks? And what's going to fit where? Another thing that's important is who's doing what? Who's going to be the timekeeper? Who's going to be the scribe writing things down? Who's going to look after the technology? Very important when you're virtual or hybrid. How are we going to work together? Sometimes people call these the ground rules for the workshop, but I find if you say rules, people tend to blank out. Much better to agree, yes, this is how we're working. Yeah. And then the final thing people often forget, but what's next? Because if you think about what's going to happen afterwards and you plan for actions, then you're much more likely to have actions happen afterwards. So there's just one little thing that might be helpful for your Brazilian BAs. Of course, once you've planned everything out, you then need to run the meeting. And because things often don't go quite to your plan, it's helpful to have some flexibility. So you have your main plan, and then you have your plan. If that's plan A, you then have plan B, plan C, plan D, perhaps even up to plan Z, where you can tweak things, because things might go a little bit differently on the day from what you were expecting. And then after the workshop, you need to make sure those actions actually get done or have some way, because as a BA, it's probably not your responsibility. You want to make sure that things are built in so that actions are monitored and that they will actually get followed up and happen. So that's a very, very quick overview. The longer answer is in 239 pages and is coming out in July.
Yes, and how can people find this book? Is it available online? Is it can people buy it from Brazil or from someone else?
Yes, it should be available worldwide. If you type in my name, just watch out for the AN. Sometimes people write EN and you won't find me. And the book's called Making Workshops Work, Creative Collaboration for Our Time. It is available through bookshops and also online for pre-order. It will be coming out on the 12th of July on Kindle, Amazon Kindle. And there will be a very special price, even in Brazil, just for one day.
Oh, that's good. That's a good tip. Repeat the day, please.
The date is the 12th of July to 2021.
All right, let's keep an eye on that. And thank you very much for being here today, Penny. And thank you for helping us to make our workshops to work better.
Good luck to you and everybody in Brazil with your workshops.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.